Hello students, welcome back to the next session of the chapter life processes. So in the last session we have completed with the life respiration process in the human beings. So but I have left out some of the things in that, so I'll be telling about that in this session. So I said you the ATP is the final product you are getting after respiration, right? We are getting 38 molecules of ATP during the aerobic respiration and 2 molecules of ATP will be synthesized during the anaerobic respiration. So during respiration the food molecule is being broken down to produce energy. So how is that energy trapped in the body? I said it will be trapped in the form of ATP, right? Energy which has been produced during respiration process has been trapped in the form of ATP and it will be stored inside our body in the form of ATP. So it happens within the mitochondria. So within the mitochondria the energy called as ATP is being trapped. So whenever we need that energy can be used up, that ATP molecules can be used up to produce energy to perform various functions in our body. It may be for growth purpose or it may be for protein synthesis and all. We need energy. So that energy we are obtaining from that ATP molecule which has been synthesized during respiration process. So how is that ATP produced? So our body will be having ADP. ATP is adenosine triphosphate. So ADP is adenosine diphosphate. So during energy synthesis, what happens is ADP combines with an inorganic molecule of phosphorus. It combines with phosphorus, inorganic phosphorus molecule. So this ADP combines with phosphorus molecule that uses energy. So for combination of ADP with phosphorus, it uses energy and that energy has been trapped inside this molecule now, and finally we are getting ATP. So 2 molecules of phosphorus, to that 1 more molecule of phosphorus has been added to get adenosine triphosphate. So that is how the energy has been trapped. So when each molecule of ATP is being prepared, some amount of energy will be trapped inside that. So that energy will be released whenever it is been required by our body. So what happens, how it has been released is, the ATP molecule, from the ATP molecule, the final terminal phosphate group will be broken down. So when the terminal phosphate group from the ATP molecule has been broken down, it releases some certain amount of energy. So it will be about 30.5 kilojoules of energy has been released during breaking of 1 molecule of ATP. So it produces so much of energy when ATP has been broken down. So in this manner, ATP serves as a battery, or it serves as a energy currency. In our torch batteries and all, we use torch for lighting purpose. So the energy from the battery has been used up to produce that light, right? So when the cell's power is over, then the light will be not produced. Same way here also, even when we are using mobile, we have currency in our mobile, we use that currency to make call. So when the currency gets over, we will not be able to make any calls. The same manner, even in our body also there is ATP which is having trapped energy inside that. So whenever we need energy, that ATP molecule has been broken down to produce energy. So once the ATP molecule is completely over, there is no energy. So we have to have the food again synthesize energy. So this is how it works in our body. Now I said you during respiration process there is inhalation and exhalation. So during inhalation process I said we are inhaling the inhaling the air rich in oxygen, and when we are exhaling out, we are exhaling air rich in carbon dioxide. So we can understand that during inhaling, whatever air we are inhaling, in that the 21% of oxygen has been used up. Air contains 21% of oxygen and 0.03% of carbon dioxide. So obviously it is oxygen what we are taking in much, right? Because air contains how much? 21% of oxygen and only 0.03% of carbon dioxide. So we can prove that we are inhaling air rich in oxygen. So how can we prove that we are exhaling out air rich in carbon dioxide? I said during exhalation process we are giving out carbon dioxide. So for that we have a small setup here. So you can we have to take 2 test tubes containing lime water. So you know what is the property of lime water? Lime water can turn milky. It turns to a milky color when it's been combined with carbon dioxide. So that is the property we are using here to prove this. That is, we are exhaling out air rich in carbon dioxide. For that we are using 2 test tubes containing lime water. So what we have to do here is, to one of the test tube you are blowing the air by using a pitchkari. By using a water gun you are blowing the air. So you take an empty water gun and just blow the air into the test tube containing lime water. To another test tube we are exhaling out. We are breathing out the air through by using a straw. So when we do, so what you can see the difference is, when we bubble the air into this lime water for several minutes, you can slowly see the change in the color. In this you can see only a very light change in the lime water. It turns light milky, but here you can see the milkiness will be much more. So it will become very much milky in color after blowing out. So what you can understand by this is, here the amount of carbon dioxide dissolved is less, but here there is very high amount of carbon dioxide getting dissolved. So what you can understand that is, so we are exhaling out air rich in carbon dioxide. So that is why the lime water turns milky when we blow the air into the lime water. So that will be the end of the respiration process. So next let us move on to the circulation or transportation process. Let us start with the transportation in animals itself. So in a previous session, that is during digestion process, we have learned that, so during digestion the food particle has been digested into final particles, and that food components will be carried through the blood to different parts of the body, right? And during respiration process we have learned that the oxygen will be taken into our lungs, and from the lungs the oxygen will be carried through the blood to all parts of the body. So what you can understand by this, the blood has to carry different materials to the cells, right? The food and oxygen has to reach to different cells in our body. So that will be done by the help of blood. So you learned about blood in your 9th standard. You know that blood is a fluid connective tissue, right? It is in the form of a liquid which can flow throughout our body. So it can reach every cells in our body. So what are the things carried by the blood? So the blood contains 4 components, as you learned in the 9th standard. It contains plasma, RBC, WBC and platelets. In that the transportation function, so the function of carrying the materials has been done by 2 of the components, that is plasma and RBC. So what does the plasma do? You know, plasma is a component of the blood which contain 90% of water. Hence the blood is in the form of fluid because of plasma. It is flowing because of plasma, because it contains 90% of water. So hence it can carry lot many things in the dissolved form. So many of the things, components to be transported to different part of the cells can be carried through the plasma in the dissolved form. So what are the substance being transported through plasma is, it carry all the food components which has been digested by the digestive system, that is from the intestine, and it can also carry the carbon dioxide gas, as we discussed in the previous session. So carbon dioxide gas can be dissolved in the plasma and it will be carried away from the cells. It has to be removed from the cells. Then the nitrogenous waste which is produced after the digestion of protein is also to be removed. So even that will be transported through the plasma. And what about oxygen? How is the oxygen carried? It has been carried by the help of RBC. Even that we have learned in a previous session. RBC contains a pigment called as hemoglobin, which combines with oxygen and it will help in transportation of oxygen. So that is a function of blood. So blood helps in transportation of materials. So we need so blood, if it has to transport the things to different part of the cell, we also need some pumping organ so that it makes the blood to reach to every cells, right? So it by itself cannot go and reach to every part of the cell. So as we get the water through the pipeline to our houses from the water tank, the municipal water tank, we get the water through the pipelines to every houses in that area. What we do is, the water will be pumped and it will be sent through the pipelines and it will reach every houses, right? Same manner, even from a body there should be a pumping organ so that the blood can be pumped and made to reach to every parts of our body. So for transportation of the materials by the help of blood, we need a transporting system or a pumping organ also, and also a pipeline to carry the materials also. So all those together forms our transportation system. So what is the transportation system, or it can be also called a circulatory system because it will help in circulation. So that will come to know at the end of the session why it's called a circulatory system. So a transportation system, what are the things included in transportation system is, it is the heart, the pumping organ which is used for pumping of blood is the heart. Heart is a muscular shaped organ, muscular organ. Then we have blood vessels. It is a network of tube which carries the blood to different parts of the body. And the most important one is the blood. It is the fluid connective tissue. As I said earlier, it's a fluid connective tissue which will help in transportation of various material to our different parts of the body. So heart, blood vessels and blood together forms our transportation system. So what is heart? Heart is a muscular shaped organ, I said, right? So muscular shaped organ. Where it is located? It is located at the left side of your chest cavity. So it will be of the size of your fist. So it will help in pumping of blood to various parts of our body. So how the blood from the heart has been pumped to different parts of the body? What carries it? It is being carried by the blood vessels. Blood vessels are a network of tube, I said, tube-like structure through which the blood is flowing. So which are the vessels, blood vessels in our body? So we have three kinds of blood vessels in our body called as arteries, veins and capillaries. So we will be learning about the difference between arteries, veins and capillaries later. So then we have one more component called as blood or the fluid connective tissue. Now let us look at the structure of the heart. This is the structure of the heart. So our heart has to pump the blood. So we know that we need to separate the two kind of blood. So what is deoxygenated blood from oxygenated blood, right? So we need separate vessels to carry this oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood as well, right? So even our heart is designed in such a manner that it has been the deoxygenated blood has been separated from the oxygenated blood. So we have 4 chambers totally in a human heart. There are 4 chambers. Our human heart is 4-chambered heart. So you have learned in your 9th standard about the different chambers and different classes of animals, right? So in that you can find 4-chambered heart you can find in mammals and birds, right? So why the mammals and birds have 4-chambered heart? Because mammals and birds are the animals which require more amount of energy. So they require more amount of energy to maintain a particular body temperature, right? Because mammals and birds are the warm-blooded animals, right? They are homeothermic animals. So they cannot change their body temperature according to their surrounding temperature. So they require little more amount of energy in order to maintain their body temperature, and hence they need much amount of oxygen. So there should be a efficient supply of oxygen to our heart, and even the oxygenated blood has to be separated from deoxygenated blood. Only then our body will be getting efficiently, it will be supplying the oxygen to different parts of the body. So in that order, so for that manner, our heart has been designed in such a manner that it is having 4-chambered heart, as well as you can see the separation in our heart. You can see a septum in between, so which will separate the deoxygenated blood chambers from the oxygenated blood chambers. So you can see a separation here, so that there will be no mixing up of oxygenated blood with the deoxygenated blood. So this question will be asked in the exam. So why there is a septum, or why there is separation of chambers to carry the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood in a human heart or in the heart of the mammals and birds? So the reason is this: because mammals and birds require high amount of energy to maintain their body temperature, and hence to ensure that there is sufficient supply of oxygen, there is separation of the heart chambers by the presence of a septum in between the heart, as well as there is 4-chamber to carry the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood separately. Just have a look at the structure of the heart here. So here you can find heart is located towards the left side, and you can see the heart has been little bit tilted towards the left side. So that is how the heart located in a chest cavity. So it will be located between the 2 lungs. Between 2 lungs it will be slightly shifted towards the left side of your lungs, towards the left lung. And you can find 4 chambers. Which are the 4 chambers you can find in the heart is The upper one is called as atrium, or it's also called as auricles. The lower two chambers are called as ventricles. So these are auricles and these are ventricles. So auricles are also called as atrium. So this will become the right side of the heart and this will become the left side of the heart. So the chambers of the right side is called as right atrium on the top and right ventricle on the bottom. And here you can see this is the left atrium and the left ventricle. Left atrium at the top and left ventricle at the bottom you can find. And these two chambers are also separated by a valve here. You can find a tricuspid and bicuspid valve on the both the chambers. So left atrium is separated, right atrium is separated from right ventricle by a valve, and also the left atrium and the left ventricle is also separated by a valve here. The blood flowing through the right side of your heart will be deoxygenated blood, and blood flowing through the left side of your heart will be oxygenated blood. So here the deoxygenated blood, what has been shown by blue color is deoxygenated blood, and what has been shown by yellow color is a oxygenated blood. You can see this, these two blood has been separated by a septum in between the heart, so that there will be no mixing up of blood here. So during respiration process you have learned that the oxygenated blood, deoxygenated blood will be coming to the lungs for purification purpose, right? So for purification purpose the deoxygenated blood is being carried to the lungs, and in the alveoli it has been purified, exchange of gases takes place, and after purification the blood from the lungs will go to the heart. Purified blood is coming to the heart, and from the heart that purified blood has to be supplied to different parts of the body, right? So blood coming from different parts of the body will be coming to the heart. From there it will be sent to lungs for purification. After purification in the lungs it will be coming back to the heart again, and from the heart it will be supplied to, oxygenated blood will be supplied to different parts of the body. So that is the blood circulation, what is actually happening in the heart, so circulatory system. So let us learn that stepwise how that actually happens. So here you can see some other parts of the heart. You can see like superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. So the superior and inferior vena cava are the veins. So they are called as the large veins of our body. So veins usually carry the impure blood. It carries impure blood. And you can find at the top you can see aorta. Aorta will be branching into different branches. So that is a large artery, and arteries usually carry the pure blood. Arteries carry the pure blood. So you can keep it in mind. Veins usually carry impure blood and artery usually carry the pure blood. So which is the largest vein means you can say it is the superior and inferior vena cavas. And which are the largest artery means you can say it is the aorta will be the largest artery. And this largest vein will be further branched into smaller veins, and this larger artery called as aorta will be further branched into smaller arteries. And then you can see some more veins and arteries here called as pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein. So what is the function of pulmonary vein is to, I said you the blood will be going to lungs for purification purpose, and you can see the left side of the heart is receiving the purified blood. So the blood which is going to the lungs for purification purpose will be purified there in the lungs, and it has to come back to the heart. So how it is being brought back to the heart is through the pulmonary veins. Through the pulmonary veins the blood is reaching the heart from the lungs. So through the pulmonary veins the purified blood from the lungs is entering into the heart, and here you can see it is the only vein, the pulmonary vein is the only vein which is carrying the pure blood. I said veins usually carry the impure blood, but the pulmonary vein is the only vein which is carrying pure blood to the heart. In the similar manner you can see another artery called as pulmonary artery. So I said you the impure blood has to go to lungs for purification, it has to go to the lungs. So it has to go to lungs from heart itself. So here on the left side you have impure blood, this has to go to heart, this has to go to lungs for purification purpose. So from heart through the pulmonary artery it is being carried to the lungs for purification purpose. So impure blood from heart is carried through the pulmonary artery to the lungs for purification purpose. Again here you can see that pulmonary artery is the only artery here which is carrying the impure blood. Usually artery carries the pure blood, but pulmonary artery is the only artery which carries the impure blood from heart to the lungs. So whatever artery and so vein has been connected from heart to lungs is performing an reverse function. That is, instead of carrying the pure blood, it is carrying impure blood. Instead of carrying impure blood, it is carrying the pure blood. So that is how it's been functioned. Now let us see how the circulation of blood happens in the heart. So now the blood has to be purified. So from different parts of the body, after respiration process, what is the product given out? It is carbon dioxide. So our blood is rich in carbon dioxide now. So that blood which contains carbon dioxide after respiration process, it has to be purified. That is, the carbon dioxide has to be removed and oxygen has to be taken. So that will be done in the lungs. As you know, it will be done in the lungs. So the blood will be going to the lungs and exchange of gases takes place there. So how the blood is going to the lungs is from different parts of the body through the veins. So all the veins which has been branched to different parts of the body, through the veins, all the impure blood, that means the blood which contains carbon dioxide. You can understand that impure blood means it is not dirty blood. It means it contains carbon dioxide. The blood which contains carbon dioxide is being carried through all the veins, and all the veins finally goes and joins where? It goes and joins our superior and inferior vena cavas. It joins our superior and inferior vena cavas, and that impure blood and then enter into a right atrium. Through superior and inferior vena cavas, the impure blood enters into our right atrium. So when the blood has been received by right atrium, it will be in a relaxed manner. Heart will be contracting continuously, right? It will be contracting. It will make a lub-dub sound. So what is that is? The heart is pumping. It is contracting and relaxing. So when it is relaxing, it is receiving the blood. When it is contracting, it is pushing the blood. So here, when the left atrium is receiving the blood from the superior and inferior vena cava, it is in the relaxed form. It will relax and it will receive the blood. So once when the blood is filled into the right atrium, it will contract. When it contracts, the blood from the right atrium will be pushed into the right ventricle. From right atrium, the blood has been pushed into the right ventricle. So when the right ventricle is receiving the blood also, it will be in the relaxed form. So whenever the heart is receiving the blood, it will be the relaxed form. It is relaxing. Blood enters into the right ventricles, and when it enters into the right ventricles, it will contract, and from there the blood will be pushed into the pulmonary artery. So you can see the pulmonary artery has been branched there. So here the pulmonary artery, from the right ventricle, the blood is being pushed into the pulmonary arteries. So pulmonary artery has been branched. You can see two branches going this side and this side. So pulmonary arteries will be one of the branches entering into the right side lungs, the other branch enter into the left side of the lungs. So it enters the two different lungs and it reaches the lungs for purification purpose. So the impure blood from inferior and superior vena cava enters into right atrium. From right atrium it enters into right ventricles. From right ventricles it will be pushed into the pulmonary artery. Through pulmonary artery it goes and reach where finally it reaches the lungs. In the lungs the blood is being purified by exchange of gases in the alveoli, and after purification the purified blood will be brought back to the heart from the lungs. That happens by the help of pulmonary veins. So pulmonary vein has been connected to lungs. So from the lungs through pulmonary vein, after purification blood will be coming back to the heart. So the same blood is reaching the heart 2 times, right? So keep this in mind. The blood is reaching the heart 2 times, once as a deoxygenated blood, another time as a oxygenated blood. So now purified blood. So purified blood means the blood which contains oxygen, which is rich in oxygen, is entering into our left atrium. From the left atrium, so it will be in the relaxed form when it is receiving the blood. After receiving the blood, it will contract. When it contracts, the blood from the left atrium enters into left ventricle. And when the left ventricles receive the blood also, it will be in the relaxed form. Then it will contract so that the blood will be entering into the aorta. and it will enter into the aorta when it is being contracting. So aorta, I said, it is the largest artery. So this aorta is having lots of branches. It will be further branched into many arteries, and the purified blood from the heart will be moving out of the heart, and through the arteries it will be supplied to each and every cells of our body. So arteries is connected to every cells of our body. So as it passes through different cell and different organs in our body, it will be exchanging their oxygen to that cells. So that is how the blood circulation happens in our human circulatory system or human transportation system. So you have understood the circulation, I think so. So here you can see that the blood is reaching our heart 2 times, and therefore the circulation happening in our heart is called as double circulation. So it's called as double circulation. So that is for today's class. The next session we are going to learn something about the blood vessels and the 2 types of double circulation. So we'll be ending the session today. Thank you.